Hi everyone. Slovakia, a small country in the heart of Europe known for its beautiful mountainous landscapes and strong Catholic cultural heritage, was once one of the strictest countries regarding religious freedom, especially for the Muslim community. For years, its government firmly prohibited the establishment of mosques and other Islamic worship facilities, a policy rooted in concerns over social change and the preservation of national identity. Imagine how hard the struggle was for Muslims to obtain a proper place of worship amid an environment still filled with stereotypes and fears. Where could they freely express their faith? Where could they gather and celebrate major religious holidays without suspicion? Yet, from these difficult circumstances, the seeds of change began to grow. A small number of Slovaks, curious and thirsty for meaning in life, started to open their hearts to Islam, not through coercion, but through personal experience, spiritual searching, and sincerity. Those who once felt alienated by the dominant culture now found something new: a peace in Islamic teachings, a warm sense of community, and hope for a more meaningful future. This story is not just about a religion entering a country, but about how humans can transcend boundaries and prejudices to find truth and peace in the most unexpected places. From a country that once rejected the presence of mosques, Slovakia is now preparing to open a new chapter. A long journey has begun, a journey that will forever change the social and spiritual face of this nation. When the doors of mosques were tightly closed in Slovakia, human hearts began to slowly open instead. Behind strict bans and attached stigmas, thousands, even millions of Slovak citizens started to embark on a different spiritual path. They embraced Islam. What made them take this brave decision? The answer lies scattered in touching and inspiring personal stories. There are students who felt lost amid the pressures of the modern world and then found peace through the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. There are housewives seeking meaning in life and true happiness, who then found answers in Islamic teachings that emphasize compassion, justice, and patience. It is not just about religious rituals. Islam offers a holistic way of life, touching spiritual, social, and moral aspects. The Dawah Islamic outreach, carried out with a gentle and educational approach, increasingly touches the hearts of Slovaks. They don't just accept Islam as a religion, but as a way of life that brings hope and real transformation. This phenomenon has created a wave of change that surprises many. Millions of Slovaks are now not just Muslims statistically, but part of a community actively building a new life full of enthusiasm and conviction. This chapter highlights how the rise of Islam in Slovakia is not merely a trend, but a spiritual revolution that profoundly and permanently transforms many lives. As millions of Slovak citizens began embracing Islam, the need for places of worship became urgent. However, building mosques in a country that once prohibited them was not an easy task. It was not just about the physical buildings, but also about a symbol of a community seeking recognition and acceptance. In various corners of Slovakia, from major cities like Bratislava to remote villages, mosques began to appear one by one. Some were simple mosques established in converted residential houses, while others were grand mosques serving as centers for religious and social activities. The establishment of these mosques was not without challenges. The Muslim community faced complicated bureaucracy, strict regulations, and sometimes rejection from local residents who were not yet accustomed. However, thanks to hard work, patience, and strong solidarity, more than 1,000 mosques now stand firmly as spiritual oases. These mosques became more than just places for prayer. They serve as Quran education centers for children, places for religious study and discussions for adults, and hubs for social activities that support the wider community. The presence of mosques strengthens social bonds, builds solidarity, and offers hope for the future. Through every call to prayer and activity within the mosques, Slovakia is beginning to change. From a country that once rejected, it is now a land that embraces diversity and peace. Of course, the rapid rise of Islam in Slovakia did not come without significant challenges, especially in the social and political realms. At first, there was much suspicion and fear among the government and the general public. Issues of security, cultural tensions, and potential conflicts were common concerns voiced. However, over time, the Slovak government began to realize that strong rejection would only lead to greater division and tension. Through an inclusive approach and open dialogue, they started embracing the Muslim community in various interfaith programs. Religious leaders from both Catholicism and Islam sat together to build bridges of understanding. Educational programs on religious tolerance were launched in schools and throughout society to erode prejudice and strengthen values of togetherness. The society began to adapt. From initial wariness and fear, more and more people started to see the Muslim community as an integral part of Slovakia's social life. Cooperation in various social, educational, and humanitarian fields intensified. This journey from suspicion to harmony became an example of how a country can face demographic and religious changes with a calm mind, an open heart, and a commitment to peace. Slovakia's long journey from a country that rejected the presence of mosques to becoming home to millions of Muslims and thousands of new mosques is a remarkable story of transformation. Today, Slovakia is not just a small country in the heart of Europe, but a living example of how religious diversity can be a vital pillar in building an inclusive, harmonious, and progressive society. The acceptance of Islam in Slovakia shows that beyond cultural and religious differences, there are universal values that unite: humanity, justice, compassion, and peace. Millions of Slovaks who have embraced Islam bring new energy to the social and cultural life of their country. They are not only followers of a religion but also active citizens contributing in education, healthcare, economy, and humanitarian fields. The construction of over 1,000 mosques throughout Slovakia stands as a powerful symbol that Islam is no longer a foreign religion or a newcomer, but an integral part of the national community. These mosques serve as centers for spirituality, education, and social activities that connect various layers of society. Within them, children learn strong moral values, youth sharpen life skills and leadership, while the elderly strengthen bonds of togetherness and solidarity. This diversity brings great benefits to Slovakia. Many social and humanitarian initiatives have emerged from the Muslim community, such as aid programs for poor families, development of education for underprivileged children, and cultural activities promoting interfaith understanding. The active participation of the Muslim community in nation-building strengthens the foundation of unity and peace. At the governmental level, openness and interfaith dialogue have been increasingly reinforced. Slovakia demonstrates that with honest communication and mutual respect, religious conflicts can be minimized and even transformed into opportunities for collaboration. This model serves as an example for other European countries facing similar dynamics. Looking ahead, Slovakia's future is very bright. Islam and diversity are no longer just passive tolerance but active pillars that build the nation. Children born and raised in this diverse environment will carry values of inclusiveness, openness, and peace to the next generation. Slovakia's story teaches us that every great change begins with individuals brave enough to open their hearts and minds, communities determined to build bridges of understanding, and governments willing to adopt inclusive policies. It is a beautiful reminder that in a world often divided by differences, there is real hope for living together in peace and mutual respect. Today, Slovakia stands as a beacon of hope, a place where diversity is celebrated and religion is a bridge, not a wall. An inspiring story proving that with patience, dialogue, and courage, positive change is not only possible, but can become a reality that transforms the world.